All right. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into another edition of NFT Live, or Rate My Bags NFT Live edition, our favorite, of course. We are sitting here with some great founders. We're going to talk all about the NFT and Web3 space today, as we do every day at 1 p.m. Eastern, live. Gifted's out of his hoodie. We are like on the second day of Biggie Poppins regrowing his mustache, so we still got a ways to go.
Yeah, we're cool. We're doing good. We're doing good.
Yes, and we also have Jared here, and I want to make sure I get this right. Jared is the Snap Digital Asset Fund founder, a generative art addict, squiggleMaxi.eth, and he is also the co-host of Collectors XYZ. Hopefully I did an okay job there, Jared. I'm going to start with my co-host here, Gifted. Gif, how are you doing? GM Web3 Morning Show. Awesome generative art episode, to be honest. Like, we already got into it.
It's a generative art day over here, Q. Apparently, we're just keeping this going.
Day.
Yeah, which is huge. Again, one of my 2023 big bold predictions was that generative art is going to kill it this year, because I think that the technology, sort of foundational education, adoption, like all of that's been done over the last couple of years, and now you're seeing more interest, I think, in a lot of really amazing artists that have been experimenting, starting to get different platforms. And anyway, I just think there's a confluence of different things coming together that makes 2023 a massive year for generative art, which is why we're going to be talking about it a lot. And whenever we have these opportunities to pick the brains of these 200 IQ generative art experts, I get really excited, because there's definitely some alfalfa.
It's a party up here on stage. Aston Cloud, hopefully I'm saying your name right, man. Thank you for joining us today. Biggie Poppins told us that we need to have you guys on the show to talk generative art. Happy to have both of you today. I'm going to let Biggie get his intro in here, and then we're going to go to Aston and Jared.
Hey guys, you know me. You no intro needed. I'm just curious. Is that alfalfa in that smoothie, GIF?
Is it?
Need to know.
Is it?
See what I mean?
I'm giving Q, his attention that he needs. He's
Oh
desperate for a little bit of attention. He wants to be appreciated, y'all. So he comes up with these awful terms like digiphysical, and sometimes you just got to play his game, to assuage the giant ego.
Listen, man, honestly, like, alfalfa's been said at least 20 times within the last 24 hours. So any press is good press, in my opinion. And we're going to make alfalfa a thing. And Gifted, if you look at your Twitter DMs, the group chat is going off about alfalfa as well. So seems to be a hit.
Jesus. Well, today's the day for that. I'm really excited. These two gentlemen here joining us. I'm so happy that you guys accepted our request and that we're having you here as guests. The Proof Generative channel would not be the same without you two, and so thank you for lending us your time today.
Absolutely. We are going to get to them. Who wants to intro themselves first? I saw Aston, you were on camera. I don't know if you're still... Oh, he's here. How are you doing today, my man? Let's see if we got your audio.
I wanted you guys to see my generic NFT shirt.
We need a generic alfalfa shirt too, man. I like this generic NFT swag. That's the next move.
That's right. Nothing yet from Collector's Corner, but hey, thanks everybody for inviting us up here. So my name's Aston Cloud online. I go by P in real life. We started Collector's Corner because we just were geeking out on gen art and wanted to find more information. Found ourselves having late night conversations around like, oh, what are all these features of anti-cyclones? Like, which ones should we go after? And what might be interesting? And then we realized that other folks might have had the same problem. And I'm sure a similar genesis story for you all here with NFT Live. And so we started talking about it, and it's kind of grown from there. And as time has gone on, generative art has continued to grow, and we can get into why, but that's kind of me and Collector's Corner, and really our goal here to help organize information in the gen art world to help folks find what they want. Doesn't have to be, a $20,000 squiggle. It could be a $200 piece on Tezos. There's everything out there. So we think that this is a great space for everybody, and excited to be up here with you all.
Thanks for tuning in and coming on, man. Jared, let's get you in here, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, because believe it or not, I'm traveling today, so I'll be hopping in the back, and we'll have to save my repeat suit for another day. But overall, really good. As Aston said, we're trying to onboard as many people to the art. We're here for, you mentioned it in the intro, to Collector's Corner. My goes huge. So I in November with a fund on NFTs, and specifically, you know, the passion, but obviously incentivized to and all this.
Jared, you're getting some love for your Squiggle PFP here, but your audio is cutting in and out. Do you want to potentially like try to find some Wi-Fi or try to find a better signal? Because you were
Sometimes
cutting
if
out
you
there for a
sign
second.
off and then sign back in, it'll help.
Okay,
So you can like, yeah, you can leave and then just use the same link. Should work.
I think I got about 60% of that though. Something about saving his 3-piece suit for another day.
Oh yeah, man. He's a sharp dresser, that Jared. Man, I'd been wanting to connect with you guys like throughout Marfa, and we just kept like crossing each other the whole time. It's such a good time. I've been telling everybody here and our viewers what an amazing experience that was, and you know, I can't wait for this one. This next one, it's going to be incredible.
So I'm looking. Go ahead.
I was going to say that for folks who may not know, Marfa is like this tiny town in Texas. It's like 3 hours away from El Paso, and I don't know, 5 hours away from Dallas. But it's like this artist hub. And Snowfro, the founder of Art Blocks, created an Art Blocks gallery out there. So just in November, it was the second annual festival out there. But it books out real fast. So if folks are really interested in Gen Art, just try to find a hotel there when you can. There's like almost nothing. You might be in a trailer or camping, but it's worth it. It's the Burning Man for Gen Art.
I feel like we've been getting the Marfa alfalfa for a long time here from Biggie. Poppins has been kind of selling on his last journey there when he went to the Bright Moments in Marfa, man. So we've been hearing about it.
But that was Mexico City.
Yeah, that was Art Blocks.
But it was definitely my two favorite events last year, and the ones I want to double down on. Like Astam said here, like I think it was like 5 hours after they announced it, Astam, I immediately went on hotels.com and Airbnb, and like there was very little left. I don't know if it's like the systems there that they don't take the reservation this soon, but like if you're staying, you can still stay like in Alpine, Texas, which is like 30 minutes away. But of course, staying there and being able to spend the night and have fun is the preferred choice, right?
Is there a DAO picking up land in Marfa, Texas? Is the real question.
Well, Flamingo DAO bought a gallery. I don't know if it was Flamingo, but there's a guy who's early there named Derek Edwards, who's like he's a well-known in the proof community. He's a venture capitalist and has been super early. He bought a gallery that I don't know if it's all his or part Flamingo, but yeah, that could be a play. Although, you know, if it keeps growing pretty soon, that they're going to have it elsewhere, because it was almost like bursting at the seams, that little town already.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and real quick, we got to shout out our amazing homies in the chat over here. We got Mumbot hanging out with us, an amazing artist. Asman, I don't know if you know Mumbot, but absolutely super talented artist. We got Marty McFly. I'm curious if it's the new or the old Marty today. We'll see. Quantum Variant.
Fair question.
Quantum, shout out Quantum. He was providing so much value on the GM Web3 show and always is. So Prodigy, rocking his DB, Nox Darkness. We're happy to see you all here.
Absolutely. I'm
curious, Aston, have you, are you familiar with Santa Fe? Like, have you ever spent much time there? Or are you familiar with Santa Fe at all?
Not really. I grew up in Salt Lake City, so I'm like familiar with that part of the country, but I haven't been down to Santa Fe.
So this is why I asked, because I have a theory. You know, ever since Biggie kind of came back and told us about what was going down in Marfa. You know, I'm from Texas, and you know, I know how much development can happen there, how business friendly it is, and also what happens when a bunch of artists, you know, get together and then a bunch of galleries start popping up. Is that a lot of times money follows that, right? And so Santa Fe was basically an artist hub. It was like, you know, where a lot of artists would go out, do their residencies, etc. But if you go there now, it's very moneyed. Like it's been developed, and there's a lot of fine art galleries, and people have their second homes there. It's this beautiful town, kind of, you know, you escape out there from everywhere else. So my theory is that I think Marfa could be like a next Santa Fe over the next 5 to 10 years, which is why, you know, that's why Nifty Q's asking, is any DAO yet buying up land? Because that's like, if I had money and I was going to buy land somewhere, that's probably where I'd be looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's not a bad play. You know, we actually, Jared and I talked about it before. It's like, should we like think about buying something? But then, you know, we just bought art because we can't help ourselves. So, but I think
if you fellas want to get together afterwards and have a discussion, five goes a lot way further than 2. So go ahead. Go ahead, Aston.
No,
Sorry, I cut you off.
It's a good idea. It's definitely worth looking into.
Okay,
I mean, definitely. Kevin Rose already jumped on the train, so you know, there's several people that have like signaled already that they've purchased land there. So I wouldn't be surprised if this coming year we find out that another gallery opened and somebody else bought land. And I mean, I think like the first one, the inauguration, they say was like 150 people. Last year, I think it was like 500, 600, give or take. It's conceivable that this year is going to be like at least 1,000. So we'll see how the small town fares, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get started here on today's episode. I did want to quickly share Collector's Corner real quick. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat as well. But here's the Twitter link. So you guys put on a show every day or every other day? What's the schedule like, and what are you guys covering primarily? Is it all generative art?
Yeah, so we try to cover all generative art. It's getting harder, so we filter it out, try to get you more signal and less noise. We do a weekly episode that is published on YouTube. That's a video episode, and we also put it out on our podcast, which is, if you just go to www.collectorscorner.xyz, that's our podcast. But we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on all of that, and then we have a newsletter that's been growing really quickly. Because we try to keep the podcast down to 30 minutes so people can like digest it quickly. This is our
We don't
newsletter.
do that here.
Got a few more stories here. So that's the weekly stuff, and then we do deep dives. We actually started off by doing really like an hour and a half, 2 hour long dives into different collections, because if you're going to go spend $10, $15, $20,000 on a Meridian, you probably want to understand it, know what you're buying, why you're buying it, find the aesthetic or the vibe that fits with you, and ideally not overpay, right? Even if you're planning to keep it, it's like I think of this as like you're going to buy a house, right? You're going to live in it, you take care of it, but you still don't want to overpay, and you would like your house to appreciate in value over time. So regardless of the reason, I think it's prudent to think about the costs at these price points.
Love to see it. Okay, guys, we are getting started here. We're going to start with a little bit of quick news in just a moment after we do some housekeeping. I feel like trying to play Tetris while we're live. So this is our first like 5-person box ever. So we're going to wing it here. Jared, do we have your audio? How's that looking, man?
I think I'll be touch and go for a little bit, but
Like
we'll keep checking in. We'll keep checking in throughout the show. That'll be part of the fun of today's show. It's
gotta love live content, man.
When you do live content, you never know.
I can make guesses for Jared too. If
all right. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And I did actually just go follow.
It's okay to troll him
too. Yeah, of course. But I did just go follow Collector's Corner and subscribe to that newsletter. I love really, really great newsletters. They're super helpful, especially with our shows. I have several, and I'm very excited to see what y'all are putting out.
Okay, I am getting into some housekeeping, folks, before we get started. I'll get to the chat in just a moment. I did link out the NFT live tweet. This is the tweet for today. If you guys can go there, retweet, like, comment. I heard Elon loves that for his algo, a little bit of comment section action. That would be awesome. I did want to shout out one person, Carter, a leftover. He says, "You all are hard to get in touch with. Can someone DM me?" We will have our people contact your people right after the show. Shout out to Carter there, looking to get in touch with us. And then, folks, if you guys can leave also, I know I'm asking a lot of you here, but if you can also leave a like on the YouTube section, it does help us get out as well. We love to see the chat getting lit pretty early here. We just pressed live a moment ago. So Prodigy, Asmodai, regional time of day to you all. Let's see. Prodigy saying, what does it do, fellas? It's that time of the day for the sexiest show in the space. So we appreciate you, of course. Marty McFly saying, nice bold squiggle, Jared. Nox Darkness, hey guys, I've been looking forward to this one. I'm learning so much about the kind of generative art that I'd like to learn how to do. GIF, if you see any comments as well, let me know if you see any there that you want to shout out. Marty McFly is also saying, same old, same old. Got a shout out in the nifty show for trolling today. Time to buy a squiggle GIF. GIF dead. You see any comments?
I'm over here just trying to retweet all the different things because we're also live on Twitter. Also, these episodes go up on. Yeah, I mean, ask them. You'd be proud of us, man. We actually finally now are getting our audio onto podcast platforms and audio platforms as well. So we're just trying to keep up with what y'all are doing over at Collector's Corner, apparently. But very excited.
I'm trying to keep up with you all. I was like, I love this hybrid, like Twitter, YouTube thing. We actually, well, we can get to it later if we have time, but we're gearing up. More artists want to come and show their work. So I want to be able to get it on screen because the art's beautiful. So I might need to get some tips from you all after this.
Hell yeah. Of course.
Okay. Last bit of housekeeping here. This is what we're doing today. We're going to get through quick news. And we got to rate my generative art. I want to apologize to our guests for whatever reason the tier list system in the entire world is color-coded red to purple. Not sure what the hell is going on with that, but if you look at the tier list on Google, we couldn't find another template, and we've yet to implement Biggie's amazing tier list drawing into these tier lists. But you guys already know. We've done Rate My Bags. We've done Rate My Rugs, which we sucked at. Rate My Christmas. I mean, we're all over the place. So rate my generative art today. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited to just sit here and listen and be a fly on the wall, to be honest.
Yeah, hopefully, ask them you're not going to hold any punches on this. We like to get super controversial. Like it's crazy controversial.
And to add into that, like I made it. I hope you guys are proud of me. Obviously, a lot of my knowledge comes from you guys and the Proof community. And so while doing the research for this first season or first session of it, I was like trying to find different levels. But honestly, I just went with the who's who of it. So it's going to be rough because not all of them can be at the top level. But we'll see how it goes. I'm really pumped about it.
Let's see if we
Hope
can
to
get a
make
hot
you guys
take.
proud.
For sure. We will give you our fair feedback because I mean, look, for real, people spend real money based on what we say. So I think it's our job to be real about it, and you know, we'll be respectful, but we will definitely help delineate.
All right, we'll get started here. Marty McFly saying, excluding Squigs, Fidenza's Ringers, what's your favorite art blocks? Marty, we're going to get to that in just a moment. We're going to do quick news first, though.
We want the alfalfa quick.
I will keep this as possibly quick as possible. Blur hits back at OpenSea. This was a really fucking cool piece of news. And shout out to Panda Jackson, who I don't know if you created these visuals, but you did an awesome job explaining what's happening. So we've been covering the Blur versus OpenSea debate there for a long time, or I guess battle with the volume in the markets. Blur, of course, has the Blur token. OpenSea has the first mover advantage, and they're kind of been battling back and forth. I can even try to pull up that volume. But they use Seaport protocol. They used on-chain royalty fees as a way to get, I guess, compete with Blur and say, hey, we're going to put you on a block list. Any collections that want to be part of Blur are not able to be traded on OpenSea. And that's how they drew their Maginot line, if you will, to Panda Jackson's point. Well, Blur, in an interesting piece of development, actually developed a marketplace on top of Seaport. So if you're following me, you can see what OpenSea is doing here. There's a protocol level Seaport. There's applications like an OpenSea marketplace, and then there's you, the user, wearing Pepe sunglasses. What Blur did was insert itself into this application piece. So now, if OpenSea wants to block tradable NFTs on Blur, they're also going to be blocking the remaining applications that are using Seaport protocol in so facto themselves. So in a very, very TLDR, Blur has big-brained OpenSea by building on top of Seaport protocol, OpenSea's own blockchain there. Or protocol there.
I mean, look, this
Thoughts?
is a crazy cat and mouse game that's going to continue to play out, I'm sure, over the coming months and years. And it's fascinating to talk about. It's even entertaining when you get some good visuals like that coming in. So, yeah, we love that. However, the one thing that hasn't come up in any of this initial coverage queue that I really hope doesn't get lost in all of this is the artists, right? So the artists are the ones who are actually getting sort of tossed around here or thrown under the bus or not paid attention to, right? So much of this and what OpenSea was trying to do, while yes, it was a smart business maneuver to try and outcompete Blur, it also was ostensibly to help protect royalties for artists, which again is a really, really important part of the Web3 ethos for so many of the creators that came into the space. And I just feel like, again, already in the way that we're talking about this, it's just the marketplaces, they're all like out competing, and nobody in this conversation so far has mentioned the fact that like artists are kind of at the mercy of this whole thing or getting dicked around.
Yeah, so this visual here says that they're receiving complete royalties if, again, like this is a little bit getting in the weeds, but there is a option here for receiving complete royalties. So in a way, it is a win for the creators that they were battling together, because apparently, because they're on Seaport, those creators are receiving royalties at the on-chain level.
But if they're optional, then are they really? Because we know that optional means basically no royalties. So I don't know. I guess I need to learn more because this is all very fresh to me. But I just don't love when the conversation just gets into like marketplaces out maneuvering each other, and we get away from what a big part of this is all about.
Yeah, Marty McFly saying it correctly though. The artists get theirs. It's just OpenSea getting their 2.5% skip by Blur. So with this implementation, because they're using Seaport, they're actually giving the royalties to the creators. It's just Blur has no fees, so they're actually trying to again outcompete. Any thoughts here? The rest of you guys, Aston, Biggie, Jared.
I actually wanted to just add one thing. Very recently, Artblocks, I don't think it's even on their Discord, they announced that they're launching a secondary marketplace which has royalties baked in. So they're going to focus on the art side, where, as you all know, there's a lot more artists who don't have VC backing for tens of millions of dollars, et cetera, who kind of really depend on these royalties and want to go full time. So I wanted to throw that out there. There'll probably be more coming out. They just announced it on their Discord on the 26th.
That's brilliant. And I mean, that's a differentiator that matches that's on brand for them, right? They're very artist focused. And I think honestly, that's going to provide tremendous value to them, even more than they already have, right? Within the ecosystem. If you're an artist, everybody already wants to be an Artblocks. We literally on GM Web3 this morning had like an established artist who's been building in the space for years be like, hey, how do I get onboarded into Artblocks? How do I get in? Like, people want to be an Artblocks artist already. And now this is just going to like solidify them as not just like the premier gen art platform in the world, but also like one of the leading, fighters for the artist ethos and protecting artists and royalties and all that. I think that's brilliant.
All right, we're going to get on to the next piece of news here, which apparently dropped last week with Biggie Poppins. We should have talked about this yesterday, baby. You're in proof. We've been talking about the reveal, and we finally got it. What are your thoughts?
Biggie was still mourning over the loss of his mustache. Okay, take it easy.
That's fair.
Take it easy on him.
It's a long story, but yeah, it happened. It was one of those shaving catastrophe accidents. And I just didn't want to like shield. I try not to be too shilly about proof because you guys know I'm a proof maxi, but I love this mechanism. I'd love to hear what Jared and Aston think about it, because they changed it a little bit for this third season with series and what was it? What's the other thing that they call it? It's series and additions. Yeah. And so it was really an interesting play. I knew immediately when I saw the Grail that that's what I wanted, and that's what I went for. And I was hoping and praying that it would be Def Beef, and it was Def Beef. And so I couldn't be happier with mine. I got the copper one with the black background, and it's immediately vaulted, never to be leaving that wallet ever again.
Can you actually pull up or find the MP cause one? Because this was a piece of alpha that came up this morning through our conversation with Jiwa. Again, shout out Jiwa, one of our favorite codes and contributors from Berlin, Intent.art. If you don't know him, definitely check him out.
So because was number.
Number
Which
what?
one?
What was that?
13,
Number 7.
was it?
Oh, it's right there.
Because was number
Realization. Yeah. Number 7.
Number
Huh?
7.
So
Harvey was
yeah.
third.
So MP Cause, I'm just calling this out because he was brought up apparently as an established artist that not only was in this Grails collection, but did not see in the initial Art Blocks Bright Moments collaboration announcement that this is going to be the first artist on that amazing collaboration. So this is a new artist to me, which is why I just want to call him out, because maybe you haven't heard of MP Cause. I hadn't heard of them, but apparently this is going to be one of these generative artists to watch. So I'm curious, Aston and Jared, are y'all already familiar with this artist?
Yeah. We actually had the pleasure of meeting him in Marfa. Not to bring up Marfa again, but he's a super nice guy, like young guy. I don't even know, looked like late 20s at the oldest. And he has an Art Blocks curated collection from a while ago called Chimera. And if you want, I can share my screen and show you. If not, no big deal. I know we got a lot to get through.
No, go ahead, share it, man. Quick news is long here.
Gotcha. So let me just share this. There's a bunch of stuff here, but if you go to OpenSea, you can check out. He's got a really awesome collection called Chimera. This was an Art Blocks curated. So for folks who don't know, Art Blocks, like, they separate their different launches into categories, and curated is the highest tier. So it's the highest bar. And what's really cool about this is it's honestly a little bit ahead of its time. It has like perpetual motion, and so this really put him on the map. And like Alpha Centauri Kid is like a really well-known artist who does not generative art, but they tweeted about this. So he's been known in the community for some time, and this next collaboration is really interesting because Bright Moments does in real life experiences. They try to flip it on its head, like we're all digital online, so they want you to come in person and have this really fun experience getting your mint. And what they're doing now is you're going to buy an MP Cause piece. I think it's called Metropolis. I don't know if the date's been announced. I think it's maybe a month from now or so. But you get your online mint, and it's going to correspond to one of the Bright Moment cities. If you go to that city or get a friend to go for you to their location, you get a second NFT. I don't know if it's how much extra cost, but it's almost like a 2-for-1, but you have to get over there in person. So they're trying to really incentivize that.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's early
other
May,
thing-
I believe, right?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna say when we did our 2023 predictions, Seth from Bright Moments so bullish on MP Cause, it was actually silly. One of the rising stars, I feel like, in the.
Yeah, so Seth is the founder of Bright Moments, and his prediction for Artist of the Year of 2023 was MP Cause, and Grant Yoon also had the same prediction. Like, they didn't talk before, so he's kind of I mean, he's been known, but he's heating up.
Yo, so this is huge to be talking about him, at the beginning of the year then, right? I mean, again, maybe we're behind some of y'all that are even further down the gen art rabbit hole than, maybe we normally are, over here degenning on our fucking PFPs all day. But so, the fact that we're talking about them now before they have this big collab drop and again, this is an opportunity if you can go check out Chimera. It's not cheap. These are not, cheap pieces, but who knows what the top can be for somebody like this that's really getting these types of platforms and opportunities. And also, I wanted to, sorry, real quick. So, Aston, you mentioned something called perpetual motion. I believe that's what you said, right? And so, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that this is where a generative art piece, you start it and it starts creating, moving in motion, and then it can, in theory, just keep changing forever. Is that the idea?
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of like a term the way I think about it, but it's animated, right? Like the art actually moves. On the PFP side, some folks may be familiar with like finaliers, which are these like little characters that move and stuff. And so I bring this up because I think a lot of stuff, you can't tell that on OpenSea when you're scrolling thumbnails, but when you click into it, it's actually more captivating and interesting experience. So that's what I meant. And in this case, it just keeps going. You could have a digital screen on your wall and it would just go on all day, all night.
Got it. So it's not necessarily that the art will evolve forever as much as it will just reset or it will just keep going forever.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest, I don't know about if Chimera, if it kind of loops on some time or if it just kind of randomly, continuously. I'm sure there's some that, never end up looking the same at any point in time.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing that I've heard of, is that they literally will just keep evolving forever. So it's like never the same. Like it might start in the same place, but then it just kind of changes forever. That's a crazy concept, but that's what code can do, right? That, you can't do with a lot of other art forms.
That's right. Yeah. It's super cool. And I think that, I don't know when, but I think that kind of art will have its time. It doesn't have a premium that I think it probably should, given how cool and unique it is. And forget about that. Like just the experience of seeing it. It's more captivating. It's almost like watching a fire, it's like, it's always moving, evolving. It's cool.
That's one of the things last time to me that like struck me so much when I went to the Bright Moments and Marfa, is that most of the time we're in front of these monitors and we're looking at these tiny little pictures that in reality are meant to be appreciated like on a proper screen or frame, right? And man, like looking at the anti-cyclones in Marfa was just something else. Like you can really appreciate like the detail and the texture that Mapan like was able to generate right from it that you really don't get when you're looking at it through say OpenSea or something of the sort.
Love this discussion. Sure. The last question I have here is it's related to proof, so that we can get into rating Gen Art here. Out of all of the reveals, right? A lot of them were maybe a little bit easier to predict than others. Out of all the reveals, was there anyone that was surprising or just like took the community a little to figure out? Did we have anything like that happen, or was everyone pretty spot on?
Oh hell no! I think is it Pudding, one of our members that's doing like his own platform or exchange. He ran a contest basically, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the person that won the most guesses got 10 out of the 20 right. So yeah, this one was not easy by any measure.
Any surprises out of the artist reveals that were revealed all at once? Like I know people were betting like Elon Musk at one point.
Which one?
Yeah, number 3. Yeah.
Matt Cain. Nice. Yeah, that was the one, Biggie, when we first started talking about Grails, you said everybody hopped on it because they were just like, what is this ridiculous kids drawing Gary V-esque nonsense? It's got to be the degen move of the fucking whole, whole collection.
Marty's saying that as well, yep.
And it instantly minted out, right? It was just 50 of them. So the minute they opened it, it just, I didn't even try. Like, I mean, like I said, I wanted the Grail, but I figured, I'm sure there was a bit of a gas war there.
For sure. And I'll just from our standpoint, Matt Cain, like he did Gazers. Gazers is like a 25 ether floor. And it's one of those that constantly evolves. And so that kid's picture, which I guess was his first drawing, was apparently it constantly evolves. So that's really cool. It's one of those artworks. And from the generative side, like we could tell which ones were generative because there were 150 of them, right? So we knew each of those were going to be unique. And that was labeled ahead of time. But the number 18, I believe it was by Zach Lieberman. And this was super interesting. Not that many got minted. I think 40 or there we go, 57 minted out of 150 possible. And it was a different style for him. And also, Zach hasn't done a lot of stuff on Ethereum. He's mostly been Tezos based. So that was another bit of a surprise. And he's really, really well known and like becoming more well known by the day, it seems.
A lot of alfalfa here on the show this morning as we get it started, folks. I want to give a quick shout out to Mumbot, who is saying live now on YouTube. Check out NFT Live after the GM Web3 morning show. They go live on YouTube. Awesome coverage of what's going on in Web3. Interviews with special guests, super supportive artists. Love these guys. Thank you, Mumbot. You rock.
Yo, big love. Mumbot's the shit.
All right, I'm going to try to keep us on schedule here. I got a really quick piece of news. This like literally just dropped from NFT Plazas 2 seconds ago. This channel covered Wax a lot when NFTs were young, back in the young days of this space in 2020 and 2021. Not so much now. I feel like obviously Ethereum is that place that we call home for the most part. But Wax Blockchain unveils master plan for conquering Web3, primarily around apparently a cloud wallet. But I would like to cover this tomorrow if we have some time. I definitely want to spend a lot more time today on generative art, but Wax is close to my heart just as far as Provenance is concerned and their role in the NFT space. Do you guys do anything with Wax? I know that's or have done anything with Wax, Aston or Jared? You guys familiar with that blockchain at all?
I'm familiar with it, but there's really, I don't think a lot of generative art on there. There might be some like NFT art. To be honest, the generative art is really focused on Ethereum and Tezos. I've looked at Solana, haven't found much there. I did buy the Wax token in sort of a degen play like 3 years ago, but that one didn't work out.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jared, if you have any experience with Wax.
Yeah, I just love that comment in Solana. Sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
Just the degen buying of the Wax token also, man. That's my own.
Jared,
it's good to know that you guys degen as well. Have a little bit of degen in you.
Well, it sounds like that's their whole, the whole way the collector's corner got started. It's like they're trying to put a pretty, front on their degening.
Well, I think there's a little bit of degen in everybody in this space. We're in Grailers DAO. There's a degen channel. People are, flipping random stuff. There's a lot of degening going on with open editions these days with art stuff that you guys may have heard about. So it's I like to think of it as like maybe a little more controlled, and we'll call it sophisticated degening. But degening.
Oh, I like that.
Sophisticated.
I always call it responsible degening, but it makes sense. Sophisticated degening. I like that term.
Degening with your pinky in the air while you're doing it. Yeah,
exactly.
I like that.
All right, real quick, I'm going to share a release here from Artifact. This was a pretty cool video here. I'm going to try to get us out on the other side of this one. But here is Artifact and The Signal. This was just tweeted out from their Twitter, and this is obviously a blue chip-esque in this space. Some people think Artifact is a blue chip. We'll watch this video, see what happens. All right, so we got a win burn. I don't know if we have any Artifact holders in the community. I feel like we don't hit on Artifact.
Ronan is, and I've been wanting to get in because again, dude, it's fucking Nike. Like they're gonna keep delivering dope shit like this, and there's so few projects and teams that can actually execute at this level, like this quality and consistently. Man, like the floor's not that. It's like 5 or 6 ETH. Maybe it's pumping now. Is this the on Cyber thing? I saw something on Cyber was trending on NFT Go.
Yeah, Jared is actually in chat saying, because obviously with the audio, he's in chat saying got to be the pods, and it looks like all pods are usable on Cyber to display your collectibles and artifact sneakers.
Yep, that makes sense.
Asmodee, a holder of Artifact as well. I would love to get a deep dive into what Artifact's done. Again, it's one of those like larger, more complex projects when it comes to like what they're doing. Just not very familiar.
That's Ronan's homework. Let's hit Ronan with that one later this week.
Another one we're going to hit tomorrow, folks. Sorare partnering with Premier League to launch digital playing cards and fantasy competitions. Big story. I think Nifty Portal led off with this story on their morning show this morning. So it's kind of like taking some waves in the space. I do want to kind of dedicate a little bit longer. Sports collectibles, not that hot, just in the industry in general. Obviously, Sorare has a bunch of volume, even over the last I think they've been around for like years at this point, 2 years, and they're big into the sports collectible space. So we will get a deep dive on Sorare here over the next coming day. I would say we just cover it tomorrow, but wanted to get you guys that news, and I'll also link it out in chat if you want to do a deeper dive.
Yeah, and for Aston and Jared, I am curious. Obviously, you guys are very focused on generative art, and we're about to get into a Rate My Bags edition, generative art edition here in a moment. But I am curious, do you hold any, big PFPs or dabble in DGen and other collections, or do you stick pretty primarily and specifically to gen art?
Yeah, I'll go first real quick. I was a Mutant Ape holder, and then I was a Moonbirds holder for a while. But to be honest, between starting Collector's Corner, I decided to go full time. I sold as much as I could to give myself more runway, be able to build out some products that I think will help folks. And then I just never had the time to get into other stuff, and I just it's hard because I just want more squiggles, right? And it's hard for me to, how it is, like when you really get into one ecosystem, it's like hard to move and get other stuff, which is not great diversification. But yeah, I think Jared was a CloneX collector. I'll let you tell him, Jared.
I actually got into Gen Art by CloneX. That's how I funded the large portion of the collection. Was actually through PFP flipping. I just found the liquidity ability to find floor plus pieces at the floor. I also hold a Moonbird and an MFer, so that, I definitely have PFPs vaulted up and locked away.
Oh,
Jared?
I was gonna say I have a punk that I'll never sell, so that's the one.
Oh
See,
shit!
people think people in NFTs that have a lot of money. We're like NFT rich, cash poor. We don't want to sell anything. It just sticks in our wallet. I can't sell it. No, I got a Bored Ape, but I'll never sell it.
That's a very, very nice way of describing my bags, Q. Thank
Facts.
you. Yeah, we'll stick
Jared,
with
it sounds like you're in the right place in the world to get good audio. So I want to ask you as well. I had another question that just completely blanked. Oh damn it!
We'll come back to it. Hey, did you drop that?
Oh, Doodles.
Mumbot? Oh, good.
What we've been covering Doodles here. Do you have any thoughts on Doodles? You guys bullish, bearish on Doodles at all? I know that they've been in the news.
I love Doodles. I mean that they're building is built for the long term. I think that there's something that the fact that there is something, I'll call it double, and I don't care what age group you're in. There's a for anybody looking at it. So I like it. I think that finding it is hard. I mean, between the coffee cup one and some of the rainbow pew that I got drawn to.
Love it. All right, Gif. Oh, what'd you have before I rudely interrupted you there, man?
No, sorry. I was just going to say I like them as a brand. I think what they're doing is really interesting. So they stand out for me.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't got to add anything. They both said how I feel. I'm
What
bullish
were you
on.
gonna say?
I want to get into it. I actually got duplicators, so I guess that's I'm kind of in sort of. I don't really fully understand. I don't fully understand what these duplicators are doing yet. But anyway, I want to get into Rate My Bag. So do we have any quick news?
Last quick news that I have.
Wait,
unless you guys have some.
This was the thing that I wanted to add in there. Did we drop the Mumbot tweet in the chat? Because if not, let's hype that up. It's huge whenever awesome artists and people shout us out. We don't get enough of it, frankly, and so we really appreciate it, and we want to put some love on it. So if we didn't drop that tweet in the chat for everybody to go go retweet it or go comment, please do, because again, it really means a lot when people shout us out and see what we're doing. So yeah, thanks, Mumbot.
All right, I'm going to fly through these last two pieces here. This seems like a piece of news that flew under the radar. Uniswap on BNB chain. It looks like either a DAO proposal got approved or some type of higher level discussion happened, and we're getting Uniswap on Binance chain, which is interesting. Usually, I mean, PancakeSwap is really taking up the majority of the volume on that platform. So we have Uniswap apparently going to BNB. We'll follow up on that, like I said, tomorrow when we can do a deeper dive here. And then not Doodles. Where's that last piece here? I touched on this earlier on the GM Web3 morning show. This is starting to become the case where people are having the play to earn discussion again. basically the discussion they're having is like people can make money and earn a living playing video games, which is not the narrative we want to be parroting again. We saw this happen already with Axie Infinity and the rest of the play to earn space. You can see how she's literally saying that people can choose a menu. It's not illegal. She just said it. It's not illegal. You can make thousands of dollars choosing a menu for people to play. This is not what we want play to earn gaming to be, folks.
It's like, hype cycles, Q. You're getting so heated, bro. This is gonna happen a million more times. Isn't it? It's like crypto.
See, Gift can sit up here and have a full monologue, and me sit here and be like, yep, you got it, dude. But the second I get heated about something, he's saying it's hype cycles, man. It's gonna happen all the time. Of course it is, but we want to call it out when it happens.
That's fair. I'm glad we're calling it out.
They're back. Dookey Dash has somehow reinvigorated the play to earn people that are talking about making a living playing video games. It's not about making a living. It's about having ownership of the assets inside of the game you're playing that maybe you could sell. But it's not about getting paid to play Dookey Dash, getting paid fiat or ETH to play Dookey Dash. So I'm just
how much time have you spent playing Dookey Dash, Q, so far?
6 hours.
Just 6? Really? I'm actually surprised. I thought it was way more than that.
I probably streamed for 6 hours.
You
all right,
streamed 6 hours.
Double that. All right, Biggie Poppin's going to lose his shit if we don't get out of quick news here and get into Rate My Bags. I've got all the photos. Everything is ready to be uploaded. This is going to be our smoothest Rate My Bag segment that you have ever seen. We're going to rate some generative art. I'm going to be a fly on the wall in this scenario. So, Biggie, I'm going to let you lead this discussion. I have any links you guys want me to pull up, I'll pull it up, and then we'll get started.
Well, we got 30 pieces, so let's get to it. I'm not pretending that we're going to get through all of them, but let's see what we can do. Shall we start with since we're all big on squiggles?
Yeah, maybe it's usually, so first we have to also contextualize, look, the Rate My Bags algorithm is highly scientific. There's a lot of different inputs and data that goes into this to make sure that all of these rankings are infallible, cannot be questioned. They're absolutely the final decisions of where things deserve to be at a certain point in time. Obviously things change, but we just want to remind everybody how scientific this approach is and professional everything that we do. I do think as far as where to start, Biggie, if there's any obvious like S tiers or wrecked tiers, that's maybe the easiest place, like the absolute top.
I think we can get this one out of the way and just call it S tier immediately. But I would love to hear Aston Cloud and Jared explain to us why.
Oh man, Biggie,
S tier for sure.
You brought some bangers here. Yeah, we'll let Jared talk about the hyper bold squiggle.
I told you it was going to be hard.
Squiggles are S tier for a number of different reasons, but if you believe in gen art, you could argue that being the first major long-form generative art, the creator of the squiggle, the creator of the art blocks, it's not on a rainbow squiggle. It's a bet on snow, bro. I was even listening to another fund manager, private, talking about the only 3 things he would invest in gen art is at the top of his list. It's such a modern, and it's very much the image of gen art.
All right, so we got started with a really hard one, fellas. Thanks for bringing that information there. So what's next? What's the second? I'm interested to see where the debate starts to begin.
Well, I think you could I see that would go into S group automatically, and I would say Ringers goes up there without.
I think he said Ringers, yeah, which is down just a little bit
down.
The circles. Yeah, right there.
That one.
Yeah, and by the way,
I even named them for you, Q. Like I put the name and the name of the art piece.
Yeah, I downloaded all 30, so they're in here.
I'm sorry.
Now,
do you want us to rate the collection or the piece, or in this?
Oh, the collection.
Collection.
Yeah.
Okay. So look, I think I'll go next. You have an autoglyph in there that should go above the rest of them. That's like S+. That's literally the top of the top, in my opinion. Maybe Jared will disagree. but
No, 100%.
Agreement.
So
Why though?
no, these are the Autoglyph is the first generative art. It's done by CryptoPunks, Larva Labs, and it's the first art. I mean, it is by far the most widely collected from a gen art perspective. Every person, I think, who collects a piece in their collection, and as of today, they're $200,000-300,000. They're the pinnacle of the pinnacle. Only 512 of them. They're locked up in vaults. Hard to...
Now, Jared, in this particular case, let me just do devil's advocate here. I totally agree that provenance wise, floor price, and investment wise, the history of generative art on chain generative art, these guys take the cake. Now, from an aesthetic point of view, while I can appreciate them, it's not like the first thing I want to hang on my wall, compared to say a Squiggle or a Ringers. So what do you think we put it down at A?
Let's go. To me, that would be
community vote.
That'd be the equivalent of saying, hey, let's put Bored Apes down in A, right? Like the art some people do. And
right.
But you just can't be, and agree with you. Look, if it's not the first thing I'm drawn to, the historical and significance perspective, especially being labs and its on-chain narrative. I mean, there's just no denying the space.
All right, so I've got the first community topic, or community poll, should I say, Autoglyph S or A. We'll see what the community thinks as we have this discussion.
And while that's going on, maybe just if you guys can give me a minute, I could tell you our framework for how we evaluate these collections. I teed this up for you. So maybe, can I share my screen real quick?
Science. Yeah. Let's go.
Actual science. Yeah. Here we go.
So we do, I mentioned deep dives. This is one on memories of Qilin, but what I really want to show you here is our collection evaluation framework, right? So there's an 8th point that we added on after here, but 8 things we look at. Aesthetics, how's it look to your eye? To your point, Biggie, Autoglyphs, maybe not the most striking to your eye. Who's the artist, right? Are they going to kind of keep delivering? Are they charismatic? Are they going to bring attention back to their art? Who are the holders, right? Are there influential people holding them or not really? And those tastemakers, what's the sentiment? How do people talk about it? What's the breadth of the collection? So with generative art, the art is really the algorithm, right? And you're just seeing instances of it that are outputted. But what does that look like as a whole? What's the historic significance? And this is where Autoglyphs really come into play. And then, of course, price action, right? I mean, that's kind of like the crowd voting on it. And number 8 that's not shown on here is the community, right? Is there a community building around it, rallying around it? So Squiggles have the Squiggle DAO, for example. Gazers have a really strong community. Did I stop my? Oh, there we go. So when the thing with Autoglyphs, the reason why I put it on just a different level is it's like the cave paintings. It's literally like the cave painting 50,000 years ago that influenced everybody to start making art and putting NFTs in the blockchain. And I want to point it out to the listeners, Squiggles are crazy historic too, because they invented the randomized mint, right? Where you click mint and you don't know what output you're going to get. All of the CryptoPunks were already preset. You could go and pick out which one you wanted. In fact, Snowfro, the guy who started Squiggles, he did this on purpose because he was degenning all the zombie punks because he figured out how to tell which ones were zombies. So he had all of them or a ton of them. So that's another reason it's super historic. It's hard for me not to put Autoglyphs in S, but I understand your point, Biggie.
Right on. I'm playing devil's advocate. I hope Larva Labs does not take it personally. But hey, for me, it's always a thing where it's like you said, you're spending a significant amount of money, and there's so much out there in this space, and it's just not going to stop. And ideally, at some point, even though at the moment I don't have anything to display it in, but that's what I want to do. And so when I love looking at my Squiggle. I love Jared's Squiggle profile. When it comes to Autoglyphs, it's just one of those things. Like you said, it's those cave paintings, and it has that significance going for it. But I mean, how many people have Lascaux paintings up in their walls, right? Like I'm sure some archaeologist, Indiana Jones's father does, but other than that, a lot of people are not. I don't feel like you rock your autoglyph. But let's see what our viewers say. I'm very curious to how they would rate it.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that open for another about 60 seconds, folks. So get your votes in. Right now, S is winning. I will say that. So we will see where that's going. All right, what's next? I'm eager to fill out the rest of this list and see where things fall. Also, Gifted, were you paying attention that these guys develop an actual scientific approach to observing and rating these generative art pieces? We should do that.
I feel like we do, and you're underplaying all of the work that we do, all of the hard work that we put into this Rate My Bags ranking algorithm is just getting thrown out the window right here, simply because they've got a web page queue. You're impressed by a web page? Come on.
Is it a web page, or it might just be a page? It might be a PDF.
No, it was actually a Deca gallery, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No, but yo, we just got flexed on. No, but I love actually though that Collector's Corner has put in the due diligence and written out and shown their formula, how they're ranking this. I think that adds a lot of credence and credibility to what y'all are doing, right? The alpha and whatever insights or information that you're sharing out there, people can point back to something and it feels more real, right? And so that's really amazing. Obviously, we have a lot of fun here, and it's a little bit less structured. Sometimes we even, I'll admit, get a little bit subjective here, and that's okay. It's part of our fun. But y'all are doing something a little bit different, and kind of taking yourselves into this more sort of serious art collector world and trying to provide alpha there, which is really interesting. So anyway, I think Ringers down there in the corner was also S tier, but we haven't talked about that one as much, like why. So I don't know if we want to spend a lot of time talking about it. But I believe that one, it was also S tier in y'all's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective, Dimitri, the artist behind Ringers, is just a goat in the space. He's a proven business leader. It's a 1,000-piece generative set, and an algorithm that creates 1,000 pieces that don't look homogeneous, still captivate people's attention, is incredibly difficult to do. Of something like a ringer, I don't know. I think it's held by OGs, collected by the top creators. To me, it's just, and this is you want a hot take about this. I love ringers more than Fidenzas. I just think that there's something. Dimitri is just an absolute genius. So for me, it's.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And also one thing that I'll point out, even as, somebody who's, studied, but not as studied as y'all, I feel like Ringers has definitely spawned a lot of derivatives. Like, I feel like they kind of created their own meta when they came out, and there was a lot of other projects that have done similar-ish types of generative work.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff has come out with grids and utilizing grids. I mean, the concept of ringers is how many different ways could you put a string around a peg? So like these peg layouts, and it was meant to be collected in 2x2s, 3x3s. Obviously, they're like super expensive, so it's hard to do that now. But that was kind of like a meta structure with the grid there. But I agree. I mean, in the interest of time, I actually maybe wouldn't put this in S, but I can just take the next.
This fucking guy.
This fucking guy.
All right, S is a high bar for me.
So, no, I like that.
As it should be. As it should be, folks.
Bring it.
So
That's good. Yeah.
So usually we're like dealing with either 3 or 4 folks. Gifted, do you want to be like weighted in this discussion, or do you think we should leave it up to these like 3 kind of pseudo experts here, pretty much?
Oh, I am pseudo expert as you get. First of all, no.
So the actual experts, we're pseudo experts.
I'll chime in. Yeah, I'll chime in where I feel needed, but like I'm leaning more on them. Obviously, like do I hold weight in Rate My Bags? Of course, yes. But like this is a special occasion, right?
So I'll say so. Jared and Astum said, "Oh no, who said?" Okay, Astum said A. Jared and Biggie said S, so I think I'm just gonna go based on weight there, and just put it on 2v1. So we got an S tier here.
Yeah, you want to start jumping into some hot takes. Probably throw up screens, meridians, and then if you either factor or kindergarten. Those four will definitely some open discussion.
Oh yeah.
See, what's interesting to me is that as we get below S tiers, where I'm going to actually discover a lot of new art and artists.
Agree.
Because these are ones,
Some
all right, so
accessible
far,
ones. Yeah.
I've heard of all these. Like, I know Fidenzas, I know Ringers, Squiggles. But yeah, below S tier, I feel like is where we're going to actually get our alpha.
A GIF. Make sure you hit the chat as well. Let me pop into chat. I know we've only rated 3, so we gotta pick up our pace a little bit. But Prodigy saying quick news only took 40 minutes. Nice guys. Round of applause, chat, please. Thank you. Marty McFly saying bearish on Doodles, Flow, and Artifact, bullish on Squiggles and Punks. Justin Case saying, bro, I read something last night about sleep to earn. I'll talk about that here, I guess, tomorrow as well. Thank you for those comments. Quantum Variety saying organized disruption. Letters to My Future Self, The Eternal Pump, Pre-Process, Asemica. Are these ones that we're going to end up rating, or are these ones that
those are
didn't
not
make the
in?
list?
Like Quantum,
Okay.
I wish I would have gotten that list from you sooner, but we can get to them on our next session. I would totally. I don't know all of them. There are like 2 there that you mentioned that I am not familiar with. And as you can see, I was trying to like fill in something that's questionably not an A or an S, and I'd love to get their feedback on it. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
dude.
and we
Throw 'em
can just take turns because I know that we got a lot to get through. So I won't push back on Jared's picks.
Where would you place this one, Jared? I'm very interested in where would you put screens at?
So full disclosure, my fund and I both hold very, very. I hold one of the 7 rare rose palettes. Might find this one really intriguing. There's a drunk trick. It's amazing the way it just like flows erratically. But that being TLP, Thomas Lynn Peterson, the artist, this is a very, very good friend of collector. I'd saying this, but a little bit of a hot take. I put it in the B category. It's amazing project. I think it's got crazy. But one of the things I love about NFTs is the community, and TLP to make one of the best communities out there. It's just waiting to take off. And to put it into context, on that rare rose palette, I was just sharing this with Aston the other day. I'm like floored by the people really like Blockbird curated, Von Mises, and I can't even remember it. It's so god tier, amazing. So people love it. People are leaning into it. I just think it. Yeah.
Right
All
on.
right, next up.
I agree. How about toys? Can we do toys? Because I know that one's like a little bit recent in a lot of people's mind. All the way up, yeah, the first one. I know this one made a lot of waves. It's from what I understand, from OX Techno, I believe it is. Like this is his first foray into this type of art. I found it interesting, very playful, colorful, beautiful. Where would you place it? I mean, I would put it somewhere, I think also like probably a C, especially if screens is a B, definitely below B, but notable nonetheless. How do you guys feel about toys?
Yeah, I can answer this one. I think C is a great place to put it, especially because like I'm thinking C for community. Like Durex Techno, he was a community member. He's just been like tinkering away, gaining the skills on the side, and launched a collection. He's got some great work in progress as he puts out there. And he's like well known in art blocks. He was a curator at Marfa. They had 3 community curators for the gallery there.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, I mean it's his first collection. I think it's great, and he's like a big part of the community. I don't know if like how well it'll do price wise, right? So it's hard for me to say. And like you said, depending on where we slot other stuff, we might have to move it down. But I think it's just like it's different because it's somebody who came up in this gen art world that's now like becoming into an artist. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, Techno's a brilliant curator. I mean, who were selected from the community to curate in Marfa. So the dude's got an amazing eye. This is his first project. not an artist. He just, because he loves it so much, taught himself to code and do this. So it's really curious to see how the community embraces it. But love the.
So I want to throw this one out, Fidenzas.
Let's do it.
You tell me.
I mean,
y'all were waiting on me. I'm not
says anything.
I will say I agree with Jared. If you asked me, if you told me between these two, what do you get, a Fidenza or a Ringer? I'm a Ringer guy. I love both of them. I think the colors and I feel like both of them like really have this motion to them, right? But whereas like I would describe Fidenzas as like a wave type of motion, it's like a lot in groups. I really appreciate Ringers for what you mentioned, Astam. It's like whenever you see a Ringer, I just can't help but start following the little line and doing the path thing, right? Which I find mesmerizing. So that's why I'm always gonna go for Ringers over Fidenzas. But both are stunning. I mean, I think, yeah.
I need your
opposed to an
one letter
S tier.
answer. S. You wouldn't be
S tier
opposed. Okay.
for me.
Okay. S. Okay.
yeah, it's
Awesome,
S
Jared.
all the way. It's S,
S. I got
all the
two
way.
S's.
I mean, the reality is that if you're the I'll call it, captivated the attention of more PFP holders any other project I've ever seen. It's stunning. The flow field is executed. He didn't invent flow fields, but now they're synonymous with. So, I mean, the level of execution on this is just absolutely.
Ask him, you want to take a devil's advocate approach here? Or are you going to go with S?
Well,
Wrecked.
my devil's advocate approach is that I would put both Fidenza and Ringer in A tier, but we already established that. I think they're the same. I mean, they're yeah.
I like that though. I like your strict bar. Ask them like that. That's how it's got to be. I mean, we've got 30 like, super amazing artists. They can't all be at
Big
A,
is
right?
just letting everybody at S, man.
Yeah. Well, we're starting.
Those are just
with a lot of the top tier. That's what.
That's
we're
the
doing, right?
low hanging fruit.
Establishing the level.
Yeah. I mean, but to Quantum again, this chat is killing it right now. Thank y'all. Keep it going because I'm really loving what y'all are talking about and the conversation happening. But I think Quantum Variant is talking about how complicated the programming, the algorithm to achieve this, and using the flow fields the way that they did. It's incredibly hard. I do know this as a pseudo expert to create something that looks organic using code, right? And something about Fidenzas is it does have that sort of flowy, organic feel to it in a way, more so than something like a Ringers. And I think that's part of what sets it apart, is to achieve something like that and do it really well is very difficult. So Quantum's saying the Fidenza has a way more complex algorithm, and I assume he's talking about than Ringers. But anyway, great comments.
All right, we talked about Gazers. We talked about Matt Cain earlier. What do we got?
I'll let you guys go first on this one.
Yeah,
I would put
P and I are gonna
go
differ on hot takes, baby.
What do you got, Jared? You first.
I put this in the A category. It has the potential to ascend. Really talented artists. The community is ridiculously hardcore, but still feels somewhat super exclusive. And I think that until the displays can keep up with it, I'm changing piece. I mean, literally the picture of the moon that is the Gazers and the color theory behind it, regular basis, based on the lunar cycle. This thing is so crazy dynamic. I have an appreciation for it because you just see the static image on OpenSea. The displays come out that can actually give it the proper resolution and display it needs. I think this stays, the A category.
I think I enjoyed aesthetically the most out of the ones that we have up here. So I will add that, but Aston, go ahead.
Yeah, A.
Wow. All right, on. Let's listen to the experts. I was gonna say B, but that's my own personal biases come in there. I'm not the biggest fan. Again, like going back to this thing, it's like, do I want it on my wall as much as others?
Really?
Like I would take screens over that. But I mean, Matt Cain is Matt Cain, so let's leave it at that.
Matt is such a genius. He literally invented code, like coding algorithm, not just an algorithm, his own coding language, code gazers. I mean, he's so next level. I think that's one of the things about it. Is next level. Most people haven't even been caught up with what he's thinking of doing and how it is. I mean, this thing is just next.
All right.
So since we're doing next level and like people like that, why don't we go with Death Beef? I want to see what you guys think about Death Beef, because to me, he's one of those guys that is so far out there. I don't even know if you could put him in this thing, right? Like, again, aesthetically, I don't know. It's the one right next to Toys Q.
Yeah.
It looks like it looks something that came out of the ER or something. It's, you know. And unfortunately, it doesn't have the audio component to it. But
I can find that if we want.
No, it's sure. What do you think about it? How do you guys feel about Death Beef?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it personally. The guy is really next level. I would put it in the A category here. And it's generative audio video. So Q, if you're able to just go on OpenSea, type in Death Beef, synth poems, yeah, just click play in one of them. Like, this is all code based and all on chain. It's really interesting.
Okay, I'll try to pull this up. Let me make sure I got the audio.
Yeah, this is where I'll come in with a little bit of a hot take. Well, and it's I think historically going to prove itself out. I just don't see, outside of large funds and a couple DAOs, I don't see a lot of the collectorship around it. I would put it with screens in the potential to ascend. I know, and that's coming from.
Oh man, that is. I'm sorry. Like, that's just like insulting almost.
First hot take. Hold on, can I see this audio piece real quick?
I heard. That hurt.
That's pretty dope.
I'm curious if the sound is also programmatic, like it's code, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty cool. If this is like a really early experiment into not only the graphic visual qualities of generative art, but also adding in audio to that, that's pretty freaking cool.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, Jared. Like, doesn't the audio degrade or change a little bit if it's traded or sold, or am I thinking of a different piece by him?
There's different pieces who do this, but not this one specific.
Oh, okay.
But you're right.
Yeah,
I think that's a really progressive thing that I can't recall the name of the project off the top of my head, but it's the audio fades by 50%. So in theory, what you start to hear if you're later on and down the line is going to be a frac the original had. It's kind of like that. Well, I won't get into it in the interest of time. It's no disrespect to Death Beef. I really wanted to degen into minting. My wife convinced me otherwise. I love him as an artist. I think it's great. Just as of today, outside of the big, it's hard for people to relate to it and to it.
All right. So what's the final piece on this one?
If Matt Cain is an A, then Death Beef has to be an A. To me.
Okay.
I gotta say, it's hard to compare it to screens that has a floor of like 3.5 Ether and it has a floor of 50. That's the last thing I'll say about that.
Yeah, but that's supply and demand, right? I mean, and 1,000 screens and how many Death Beefs? And again,
there's like 300.
I got outvoted A to B, so I get it. We'll go with A, but I'm
the community as well is voting A, just for solidarity's sake here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do. I want to add a little bit of like potential controversy here or anything. Let's do Cosmic Reef. I put in there by Leo Villarreal. You had it there. Yeah, that one. What do you guys think of this? This is a generative artist, OG generative artist, IRL artist, trying to venture into Web3. I was a bit conflicted about it. I mean, obviously the visuals are very nice. He definitely he has the programming chops to pull it off. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm curious. You guys go first.
I'll give a quick hot take before I go through TSA. Put it down in the B category. I think Leo's an amazing artist. If you just aesthetically, it's not drawing me in. I'm not need to have it in my collection, but out of respect for I think it's absolutely an amazing project.
Jerry, we need to get you to disrespect a little more.
Yeah, I will do a bit of a hot take, and it's not because the art isn't beautiful. I'm gonna put this in the D category, to be honest with you. I just, I'll tell you why. It really simply, I never hear anybody talking about it, like ever, and I think it's a great work. It actually has motion in it, but nobody ever talks about it. You don't really hear from Leo too much, and I just think it could be forgotten in a couple of years. And in fact, it almost kind of is already. Like, I hate to say that, but I don't hear enough about it, see enough of it.
I agree with you, Austin, and I think the reason is, and we cover that a lot here in the channel, that it's not like a requirement. You don't have to constantly engage with your audience, but there's something about like native crypto artists that it really embrace the ethos and like garner, like you're mentioning, like a community behind them that supports them. And I feel like his venture into this space, it's not like it's a cash grab. I think it was an earnest like attempt at like doing stuff, but it just kind of like, it feels like he didn't care that much. You know what I mean?
I can't tell you why exactly. I hear what you're saying. They actually launched a follow-up to this. Leo did. We did a space with him. He's an awesome guy, like an amazing artist in real life. He does light installations, did like light installations on the Bay Bridge in San Francisco.
That's amazing.
Like, the guy is next level. Just for whatever reason, this collection hasn't really captured the attention of the crowd, and that's why I put it there. Also, to mix it up a little bit and with some hot takes, but yeah, like it's no knock on Leo. I think he's fantastic. It's just the sort of what the reception seems to be.
All right, is D going to be the final placement here, at least initially?
Well, it wasn't in B initially. Wouldn't a happy, medium be a C? I mean, I feel like
no. I think we
But
were
I
told
feel like,
D.
but if you compare it to like,
Biggie said
to
B.
techno, if you no, I said I agree with D. Like, I think
Okay.
if you're putting techno at a C level, somebody again who's done his first foray into it, but again, you see the crowd and the people like really like appreciating it and embracing it, and I think we'll see more from him, and people are going to follow it along. Whereas Lee, I think I don't want to say he's spread thin, but I guess his forte, where he made his bones, is in real life, and he hasn't been successful in making that transition and garnering that attention. And perchance, yeah, maybe like engaging the community in a little more meaningful of a way. And so for that reason, I think D is a good level for him. Let's see what he comes up with later. But
all right, let's
take.
move on. Let's move on to one that has been talked about in our
yeah.
community here for some friendship bracelet action. We got some hands in the air on this one. Where does friendship bracelet belong?
I'll go real fast, and I have a lot of friendship bracelets because I find them super interesting. In my mind, they're more of a collectible than they are art. They are beautiful art, but what makes them super interesting is the dynamics. I'm gonna put them in the B category. Personally, I think that what's really interesting is it was a free mint. It was almost like a POAP, if you will. Like, anybody who had an art blocks on, I think it was October 26, 2022, took a snapshot. You could mint 2 of these for free. There's over 13,000 unique holders, free mint, and now trading, I think, at like 0.3 something Ether. 0.4 Ether. It's just really, really interesting. And we did a whole Twitter Spaces on, like, I have an investment thesis around this, but I think there's a chance that this becomes effectively Like if you want to bet on art blocks, people start buying this the same way people used to buy Uniswap to bet on Unis, even though like nobody participated in the governance or like
This is the social token, Q. Like you were talking yesterday about, it's almost like an open edition type thing, in a way, right? You get your fans in at a very accessible price or reward your collectors, and then you've got this high supply. I mean, that's my question on this is like, how does the scarcity factor into your algorithm here? Because there's almost 40,000 of these.
So I don't think that you're ever going to see like 100 Ether floor or anything like that with this. I think that it wasn't meant to be scarce. I think of it as a little bit. You guys remember Goblin Town, right? Free mint, like 10,000 pieces, kind of captivated people's attention. But that was a little bit concentrated. People were in the know and minted early. This, everyone had a chance. The mint was open for 2 months. And so I think we'll see. If we come back in 6 months, I might have to revise my rating on this one. I just find it very intriguing because of the holder dynamics and the way it was distributed.
It really also benefited from Blur.
That's
I think
what I was
the
gonna ask.
marketplace Blur coming out at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That helped with certainly adding like liquidity to it. But I mean, you guys know there's like no liquidity right now. You're not going to find anything more liquid on the art side than these friendship bracelets.
So Quantum Variant is saying I put it at C unless they are used for something big in the future, then B. What are your thoughts there?
Agree with C.
Yeah.
It's not there yet.
Oh, we lost you, Jared. But I think we got the major, part of it. It's not there yet. So Biggie, Jared said C. Biggie, what are you putting it at?
I'm gonna agree with Jared. Definitely
Oh, wow.
a C, more because again, the supply and it's not fully cooked yet. I definitely think it can be bumped up to a B down the line. But so far, like, man, when I start looking at this board, yeah, C makes sense.
All right, outvoted there. Asked him. We'll get there. He was super stoked at the start of that segment too. But I appreciate you breaking it down the way you did. All right, let's. Did you have anything there? Okay.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's keep moving. What else?
Let's throw in some Zancan there, but let's do the I forget the garden, the purplish one there. You see it?
We still don't know.
It's right there.
Kindergarten or kindergarten?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a.
That one's different. That one's Chapultepec, but we can do this
That
one.
Well, he's talking about that blue and pinkish one. Yeah,
that one, yeah,
I believe. Yeah.
I love Zancan, so I cannot be objective about it. This would be a B for me, maybe an A.
I put a little bit of color on this one. It's, not only Zancan, who mainly on FX hash, but this was a collab with. So it's sees the word. I'll call it. I don't know if it's a kindergarten or a kindergarten. Play on that, but I think that while Zancans, I'll call for $25,000+. This is still a $4,000, so you're about at that 3 ETH entry. It's beautiful. I mean, they're just up the blue, red. So, just cool. I love both the art artists. I love these pieces, but I have to put them in B. It's not there yet. Convinced me it's a C, but it has the eyes on FX hash and to be embraced. And I think the one thing that's the project is some of the outputs are just not as beautiful. Beautiful ones are just stunning, take your breath away, and the other ones are,
Yeah, so I think I'm okay with B. I think B. I'm probably less bullish on it than Jared and Biggie are. To put it in perspective, this is I would say in the top 10, but not in the top 5 of Tezos generative art collections. That's my take on it. These guys might think it's top 5, but then you go over to art blocks and you say how many of the top 10 art blocks would you put in like B versus C, and you that's how I land on B.
Okay. All right, it looks like it'll be squarely in B then. Let's keep moving. We're at an hour and 30 minutes, folks. We see you guys in the chat following along and participating, to be honest. Marty's saying C there for Zancans. Prodigy saying Rec, to be honest. That's an interesting take right there. Digits, Cypher, Quantum Variant, Erafim, NFT Cutie, Digits. We appreciate you guys tuning in the whole time. Biggie is back. Biggie, you're back. What's next?
Is he back? He's not back.
Yeah. Oh no.
We lost you, Big. Oh,
yeah.
Your audio. All right.
The switch. These died on me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Got you.
Okay. So what did we decide with Zancan?
B. Hello? B?
He can't hear it. Yeah. We're having issues, Big.
Okay. Frick. Let me drop off in that and come back in.
All right, cool.
Let's
keep it. Yeah, go ahead.
I can take some rapid fire if you guys want.
Yeah, let's do some rapid fire. Sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's see how far we can get in the next 10, 15 minutes.
Sounds good. All right, so you see one that kind of looks like radial, like it's almost like piano keys spreading out up. Yeah, that one. I'm going to put this one in the B category. This one is called Fontana. It was recently launched in the last 6 months, but the artist is really up and coming. And it was like the only thing that did well in like the last 3 or 4 months on art blocks, and did really well. Minted at 0.4, got up to like an 11 ether floor. It's retraced about a 7. I think it's really kind of like that next tier blue chip that's on its way.
I feel the same way. Asked him, how did you feel about the one that he did for Grails? I'm curious.
Yeah, I like that one. I didn't like it quite as much. I feel like the algorithm there wasn't. It didn't have as much action going on there. It was more about the colors and the background. And I do think having some of those central objects to focus on helps. So I mean, I don't know if that one's up there. I would maybe put that one in like a C or a D in this framework. But it was beautiful. And what this artist Harvey Rayner has done is he's created an algorithm to generate color. So most of these pieces will have like a preset number of color palettes that can be randomized onto each individual NFT, but his is more like a gradient. So they never have the same colors, and that's, he's employing that and showing it off here with reticular.
These are really pretty. These are stunning to me as far as generative art goes. They have kind of that organic feel. They've got fine details, and you don't see a lot of like really smooth gradations that feel like they were hand painted like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
So are we placing this here at B? Any complaints?
No.
I
agree.
It has the potential.
And can definitely move up, right? I think
it could. Yeah, it's relatively new.
Right. How about we do Memories of C. Lin? I know Jared is a big fan. It's up there, all the way up the top. Yeah, that one.
I'm a big fan and a big holder, and that being said, that it's still a B category.
Oh,
but
wow.
I think that the community has a lot of potential, but honestly, what I've seen over the last stalled out. It just doesn't have the enthusiasm behind a 1,024 piece collection. I think that there's a puts that not a lot of some people go towards others. I think that this is one that captivated Aston and I's attention really up. There's a lot of like I'll call it like hidden figures and animal outputs, but there's nothing meta collection.
Aston, jump in there for Jared.
Yeah, I agree with Jared. I think B is a perfect spot for memories. I mean, just looking at what's in A, I wouldn't put it on the same level as Gazers and Death Beef.
Right on. I agree. That makes sense. Really love it though. Like, yeah, that and Fontana and Zancan to me are like just solid bets. Like you can't go wrong with them. Our community, Quantum, let's please Quantum and bring in the Harvest, which is the one right next to Zancan to the left, the one that you got. That one. Yeah. How do you guys feel about this?
Man, this one's new. I mean, honestly, I would put it in the C category. I know people are not going to like that. It's just like too new for me to put it on the same level as like a Memories that's been out and kind of coveted for almost a year now. I think that it's beautiful. It is visually striking. I don't know how I feel about the variety. In terms of like a lot of them seem kind of similar to me, but look, you can't argue with the crowd. It's had an explosive reaction, and I think certainly a lot of new collectors to Gen R really, really like it. So it's more a C because I feel like it's unproven. I mean, it's been out for like 2 weeks,
Now,
and we see a lot in Gen art. Things come out and then they're forgotten and they languish. So I hope it doesn't happen for this one, but it could.
that's a good point. Like, so I mean, you're putting it there strictly mostly on performance, and while it is visually very striking, I love how dynamic it is. But yeah, so you would be placing it there more like as a let's see how it performs, give it a couple of months type of
That's right.
situation.
That's right. I mean, you have one up on here that we'll see if we get time to talk to, but Factura had kind of a very like big release back in June. And Xcopy tweeted about it, Tyler Hobbs tweeted about it, and like it was forgotten in the bear market. So the bear market killed a lot of stuff. Maybe the bear market's over. And maybe this has just hit a nerve with collectors, new collector. Like I don't want to be like the old guy in my armchair acting like I know everything. Like what matters is what people think about it and who likes it for sure. So
I don't think you can deny that like the embraced it. I mean, you haven't seen anything since Fontana mint out and put in. I mean, I agree with everything Aston said. Spoken. It's a.
You think you can repurpose that, Austin?
Look, I mean, he might have said we should put it in B because like it has touched a nerve of the crowd, and I would, I could see it like being somewhere in between, but I don't think he would put it above B for sure. So
Okay,
Biggie, you're the last one.
I mean, well, I would leave it there next to friendship bracelets. I agree. Like, I still like I agree with Aston in that with generative art, like, it's so different than with PFPs. And if PFPs even like you see people like get really hyped about a particular project and then time passes and they kind of forget it. I think with art, it's harder because while you can find something visually striking and attractive, for it to be able to sustain that captivating aura, you need to give it a little bit of time. And I like it a lot. I really love it, but I want to see if I still feel the same way a couple of months down the line.
Okay.
So yeah, let's let it cook, Aston. I agree.
Okay, I want to move into Meridians real quick because it was brought up by a community member. I see you there in chat. Asmodai is saying, I'm lost. It's not my thing generatively. Listen, we're covering everything in the space, right? We want to definitely like do our deep dive on generative art here, and hopefully it becomes more of a topic on our discussions weekly. I do have one question because I'm with Asmodai. I'm again not a generative art collector. I don't consider myself like a being proficient at it. But my question is, like, are there traits that are found across generative art, like we see in maybe PFPs or even some other NFT sectors, that show up in each collection that people either from like a human psychology perspective really like, or just in
like themes,
random, just themes.
Motif.
Like you see in PFPs, people love gold for whatever reason. Like anything that has like some type of gold like trait to it, gonna be really popular. I'm being super simple on
Rainbow.
that one, but there are other pieces.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, are there
things
any
that are-
traits that you see across collections in generative art?
I see you guys rocking some gold, so just showing mine. That's it's universal, right? Yeah, actually, Jared and I talk about this, and I put a couple of tweets about. I've seen certain colors pop up that tend to hold a premium. So one, for example, is like black and white monocolors. In Fidenza, they have, I think it's called AM or something, or white. No, not AM, white, but whatever. That trades about like 1.5 times the floor on Fidenzas. And anti-cyclones, there are a couple palettes. One of them is called Elizabeth. One of them is called Junco. Those tend to trade at a premium. So those black and whites, monocolors, I think dark backgrounds tend to be a little bit more captivating. You see this with a harvest, like those dark background ones. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't AM. It might have been black. If you choose that one. Yeah, black, that's it. So you see how it kind of catches your eye a little bit with the contrast. And
Do you think that's, I'm sure it's a mix of things, but do you think that it's just because people like the simple binary of black and white, or is it also something to do with the provenance, the history of generative art and things like autoglyphs that like early experimentation or the limitations early on kind of set that as a theme in generative art?
So I actually think it goes back to biology. I think like our eyes are tuned to pay attention to like differences and contrast because it helps us like navigate the world. And I think that's what we tune in on a little bit there. Same reason why motion is really captivating. You notice it because I have like a science background, so not to get too nerdy into it, but I feel like it's a survival.
Please do.
We're good.
This is a nerdy fucking combo.
Yeah.
Ask them. Don't be shy about that at this point. You know, you're already out. You've already been at it as a complete
That's
right.
nerd, and we love it. But well, real quick, the reason why I ask is because there are parts about the technology that are celebrated in the culture. Like I know that a theme of editions is things like 64, 256, or things like this that literally reference code limitations and formats.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like on that level if I've noticed any patterns. I can't think of too many. It's mostly like the visual ones. And another thing that I noticed that is not like specific to any kind of cyberpunk or anything like that, but like pieces that tend to have a more focal central image or shape tend to trade for a premium. So in Memories of Chi Lin, there's a composition type called focal that tends to go for a premium, even though it's not necessarily as rare. In Fontana, there are like single ones where there's kind of like a single fountain from which things emerge that tend to have a premium. So those are a couple other things that come to mind.
That's interesting. I think also Quantum Variant is making a really interesting point here, and he's hitting on the contrast question, but within a collection, right? So how things stand out when you look at the collection as a whole often denotes in people's mind as more rare, right? So it's kind of the aesthetics, but at a collective level, if there's certain traits or colors that really pop out from the rest, that might be part of the reason. I think that's an interesting point.
If you want to question professionalism and just due diligence and just a grind, Jared has been on the show as he's going through the airport and is now boarding a plane. So, Jared, I definitely want to give you your kudos for stopping by today. I know you have to hop off at any moment. We're kind of wrapping up here. I think we have like 4 or 5 more minutes. And I asked him, I appreciate you as well. But, Jared, did you have any last words? I know we were catching you as your plane's kind of taking off. Oh, it looks like his connection. You there?
Either way, let's make sure to like
He's getting
follow
patted down right now by airport security. So
yeah, give him a follow. Follow Jared, follow Aston, follow the Collectors Circle because I am now, and I'm actually again. This is really exciting to me to get more into communities like y'all's that are really really serious about collecting generative art, because again I've started getting more and more into generative art over the last few months. Again we kind of went down the Tez FX hash rabbit hole, and that's kind of been my way to get more serious about it. But I'm really excited, coming from the creative side, but also coming more through the PFP side to be meandering my way into this part of it. I'm very excited about.
And I will also just make a quick suggestion. Like, if you guys want to check out their podcast and like want to find out where to start, I'm a big fan of that breakdown you guys did about William McPann's anti-cyclone. That's just phenomenal. Great way. And like maybe we can go with him next.
Yeah.
That that's I think a favorite of all of ours here.
Yeah, I promise I'll shut up and just tell you where I categorize it.
All right, we are saying goodbye to Jared. Jared, you're the man. Thank you for tuning in. I just linked all three there. So Jared's Twitter, Astom's Twitter, as well as Collector's Corner there that you can check out. I'm definitely going to be tuning in to keep up with generative art. That's how you should do it, right? You got a whole bunch of people that are experienced in each sector. You got to keep up that way, as opposed to trying to spread yourself too thin. Okay, I've got a bunch left to do. I mean, not a bunch. I like how our list is coming together, but I've got Meridian, and let's maybe rate like 4 or 5 more, and let's get out of here.
Right on. Where would you place Meridian, Aston?
I actually, Jared just said it. I would put it in A. I would put it in A. I think it's just one of those that has almost universal appeal, and it just hit perfectly. So that's my answer.
I think it's congruent across the board. You can't fade Meridians, and
Jared's
same.
agreeing with A. He says Matt's a beast, and the visuals are crazy captivating. So yeah, we still got Jared here with us chiming in the back channel. Love it.
Hell yeah. Till the last dying breath. I love it.
All right, any others we want to rate before we close it down? I've got
Anti-Cyclones. You'll see it somewhere. You can scroll down.
Yeah, while you're pulling it up, for me, it's an A.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
I just think they're beautiful, and I think they seem to just be ascending still in terms like relative to others.
Those look cool. I don't know what that other one was. That looks pretty cool too.
I'm gonna put that other one in wrecked, but we won't since we don't.
Really? No, I was gonna say we gotta get one. We gotta get one wrecked. Yeah.
Why? May I ask?
I think it's already
Who is it, first of all?
So it's called Balagan. It's by Sapir Cohen. Honestly, it probably doesn't deserve to be in wrecked, but I thought maybe we should put something in there.
Yeah.
It just launched, and I think it didn't. I don't know. I just haven't heard much about it, and it wasn't on Art Blocks. It was on GM Studio, which is basically the Art Blocks has like an 85% brand share of like places where artists launch, like the primary launch. But yeah, I mean, Jared just said it. I don't think the outputs are varied enough, and it really kind of tanked pretty fast, and like no one's talking about it, even though it came out like 3 or 4 days ago. Normally, if something's gonna do well, it would have.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. It's pretty, but yeah, like I feel like it's a little too neat for my taste. You know, like there's something for me about generative art where like I understand the outputs kind of have this connective tissue amongst the whole series, right? But this one in particular, it doesn't feel that way, right? Like it feels a little bit too artificially constructed, you know?
Yeah, like I know what you mean, and like with generative art, what you want is like a few primitives, so like 2 or 3 levers you can pull, but then combine in interesting ways and give you that variety. Like that's a true generative art collection, what they'll do. And a longer collection might need 5 or 6. And this is what Fidenza did brilliantly, right? There's, I forget, like 7 or 8 traits that meaningfully change the visual output, and they just fit together really, really well. Same with screens, ringers, all of these. It's really, really hard to do, right? And that's why there aren't that many collections that people talk about consistently.
Okay. I appreciate it. That's good. We have a wrecked, our first wrecked.
It's true. I mean, this list is coming together really nicely, and honestly, I'm learning a ton today. Like we talk about things that we're super experienced at for the most part. Although the space moves very quickly, and you get to experience new things. Like this is completely in the deep end for me, so I appreciate it. Biggie, thanks for setting this up today. By the way, man. All right,
man. Thank you guys for joining us.
Well, I'd love also to make sure, let's invite Jared and Aston back. Maybe in another week or 2 we can come and complete this, since we've got a bunch of others. If y'all are open, whenever you got time in another week or 2, maybe we can finish this out. Do a follow up.
Yeah, I'd love to just like lightning round like 4 of them. That way we can get a little bit more. But if we have 3, right here on the screen. Can you guys lightning round, and then we'll kind of complete it?
Sure.
Lightning round. Where do you want to start, Biggie?
Let's start with Alexis Andre, the friendship bracelet started. This one, yeah. He's I like these pieces, but I'll say it right now. I'm a cephalopod fiend. Cephalopod meaning octopuses and squids and eight-legged animals, and so I see this, and that's what I see, and I'm a fan. The fact that it's generative really blows my mind, but I understand. I would call it a C.
I think that's fair. I think C is fair for this one. I mean, it makes sense to C. It's hard for me to compare it. Like, I wouldn't put it up next to the Harvest, but I think C is like globally fair.
All right, next two.
So this one you have up is Edifice. I would put this in. I gotta put it in the B category. I think of it. No, C. I'll put it in C.
Oof.
Oh,
it's
wow!
A really good
Right
option,
on.
but it doesn't. It's slightly below Screens for me, and Screens was a stretch in B for me, so I gotta put it in C.
Right on, Aston. I agree with you. I've never understood why they are so popular. For I mean, yeah, like I just visually I don't find them striking enough. So
Okay.
appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah,
Love
Jared
it.
agreed in the chat.
Oh yeah, he's saying Edifice C. Marty McFly saying I heard the G from generative art actually is a homage to the G in the word Gary for Gary V.
Yep. That's facts.
Okay, the last one, and then the Gifted. You're sharing your sewer pass screen.
I
here on OpenSea.
got news. I got news
Yeah.
for you.
Let's see this last one for the first edition of Rate My Generative Art, which has come together nicely.
Oh, interesting. Jared went with a B. I'm going to go with a B as well. I really like this collection. The crowd has somewhat forgotten about it, but I think it's a really, really nice collection. Probably the second best, if not the best, on GM DAO. And I mean, I do have a bunch of them, but that's because I like them and I couldn't stop buying them. So I'll go with B as well. I think it has potential. I think it's going to graduate into B, but it's probably somewhere between B and C, and if I have to be honest.
Right on. I accept that. Hey, there's one more person that we haven't put up here that I just feel we need to real quick, and that's Yazid. You can put, like, I think Hashed Cities is somewhere there, or this other one, yeah, the one right below Broad Chain. Yeah, to the left, right up that one.
Yeah. I will. This one's tough, man. It's either B or C for me. I'll let you go first and try to think, but yeah.
I love Yazid. I think he's a B. He's a rising star. Like, the stuff he's pulling off is incredible, and it's only a matter of time before people. For me, like, I would say Mapan and Yazid are my two favorite ones so far, and so yeah, I think a B. It's definitely above Alexis Andre and
we got a B. So we got a B from Biggie, a C from Jared. So ask them. You're the final choice.
Tiebreaker.
Where this one lands. No pressure.
This one I'll put actually as a B. Honestly,
Hey.
Look, I like it more than Edifice. It's about 370 pieces, I think, or maybe 420, but it's smaller. Edifice is 1,000, and I like Yazid a lot. He's really involved in the community. I mean, he's like DJing with us in the Discord. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'll put that up.
One thing I love doing at the end of this is figuring out which one you're going to get flamed for the most. So if you're taking a look at this first edition list, what's going to be like the most controversial take?
You
that
can't
you guys
say
have?
wrecked. You can't say wrecked.
I think probably the Leo Villarreal one. I'm just hoping not too many our people are watching this or they're gonna watch this for a while. I think the wrecked one obviously get flamed for, but probably that one was the most harsh in my opinion.
Which one? I don't even know which one that is.
But is it because of
Okay,
who he is? Because, like, I think to me, like, it's like there's no doubt he's a talented, well-respected artist.
Techno.
Like, no problem accepting that. It's just in this particular genre, I just did not like. I mean, you look at these, cosmic reefs, and like you said, I think about his work in the Bay Bridge, or the one that he did in Washington D.C., the tunnel, right? Like he's very well known for using LED, like programmatic, synchronized light shows, if you will, and to me, it's like exactly that, like just transferred onto an NFT form, right? But I feel like there's no evolution or innovation there. And so for that reason, like I feel like that's the reason why it's fallen flat, and like a lot of people haven't really gained that appreciation for it. No question he's a great artist, just
damn, I love how something can fall flat in generative art and be at 5.5 ETH. That's fucking fantastic.
Amazing.
Actually, really quick, what Biggie's keying in on is like there are some in real life artists who are like coming into the generative side, but it doesn't feel like generative native. It feels like they're taking what they did before and then backed into the code. And I think people who are more like Web3 native, not traditional art, we sense that. And this is maybe a little bit of that going on.
Love that. All right, folks, that was the first. I'll give you one last look. Take a peek. It's going to be on a tweet here on NFT Live, but this is the first Rate My Generative Art edition here on NFT Live. Ultra scientific, ultra methodical. And we actually had, I say that not facetiously, because we actually had Astum and Jared on here doing some
formula,
doing some actual formulated research here. Biggie, great job to all three of you guys rating that. Again, I feel like I got educated today as it's related to generative art, man. You guys killed it.
Dude, so did I, man. Jared, Astum, thank you for joining us. I've been wanting to have you guys on here for a while. As you can see, our community is very passionate about it, and I don't know, like all I can say is that a good chunk of anything that I know about generative art is thanks to you guys, and so I'm all about like following you guys. I encourage everybody, anytime we talk about it, you guys are my reference. So thank you for being with us today. And if you enjoyed it, we'd love to have you back. Maybe do like a quarterly, or, just see what's coming out and have some fun.
Well, the space moves fast, and the education continues, right? So yeah, anytime in the future we can get you back and flesh this out more, update it, would be awesome. So thank you, echoing that sentiment. But yeah, Q, I threw this up just because more quick news. I finally got back in at 2.3, so I have
in the casino.
I can play. I'm in the casino. I am. It hurts me a little bit. I should have just bought back in right at the beginning for when it was like 1.5 floor. But I'm now hunting around to maybe pick up a few, and I've at least got one. I'm back in the game.
Hold up. What was the original
back
sell?
In the game.
What was the original sell? Oh, well, you sold a tier 4.
I sold a tier 4 for 4.5, and then I bought a tier 1.
Hey.
It hurts. It hurts. Okay, it was not the move, but at least I'm back in. I'm back in it.
Good luck to you, sir. Good luck on your spin.
Oh, you're gonna play for me, Q. You already told me, right? You're gonna.
I would say Prodigy.
You're
could
my
play
professional
for you,
gamer. You're my mercenary, Q. I need you.
We'll discuss price rates after this. Guys, amazing show again. Astum, I'll let you kind of finish us out, man, as far as any last thoughts, or if you want to tell the folks out there how to find you. I already linked your Twitter, of course, but thanks again.
No, I just want to say I appreciate you guys having us on. I appreciate the interest in generative art, and like you link to our stuff at collectors_XYZ on Twitter. Follow us and let us know if you need anything. We're always happy to help. So thanks, and happy to come on again for sure.
Awesome. Can't wait to catch Jared with some good audio connection too. He's coming through with some fire. Jared, if you're there, thank you, man.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Astum. Very much appreciate it.
All right, folks, this was another episode of NFT Live. We'll catch you tomorrow, of course, with Ronan the Collector at 1 p.m. Eastern. Good luck to Gifted here on the Sewer Passes. Later, folks.